And that is the wrong intro. Yes. That is
Never mind. You all get
intro.
a little cheeky look there at the members only intro. So there you are. Pay your £1 a month and you can see that as many times as you like.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Let me just tweak some of my sound here. There we go. Now I can't hear myself echoing in the background. Anyway, hello, everybody. Good evening. It is just gone 9 o'clock. It is Monday. It is time for the Total Evercade podcast. There is a lot to be talking about tonight, a lot to be musing over, a lot of suggestions that we're going to want you all in the chat to be as active as you can be to discuss all of the things that we are going to be talking about tonight. So let's quickly run round the panel so that everyone can get cracking. So we have got Blunnars.
Hello, everyone. Yeah, I normally do my gift. I'm just about to do it now. So yeah, we'll find out who gets the membership in a second.
It'll just appear like magic. Okie dokie. We have also got Andy C. Good evening, Andy.
Hi, everyone. How are you?
Nice Very to be good, here again. Mate. And how are you doing? You all right?
All good here. All good.
Excellent. And then, of course, the man, the myth, the legend, Derek Sir Top and Hat. How are you doing?
Oh, great tonight. Yeah, super pumped for another exciting episode.
Excellent. Oh, Blunners has gifted the membership and it has gone to...
It has gone to, well, is it Matty Crudox 8686? So yeah,
there we go.
Enjoy that membership on me.
Matty Crudox, enjoy. We have got a stacked chat already. We can see lots of people in the chat. Shall we have a quick run through or shall we just get cracking? Go on, Blood. I might have to let you take the reins for that. We've got Dean Hammer, good evening. Thought it was 8. No, you're all good, man. Timothy, good evening. How are you? I hope you are good. All at your base. Well, yes, 4 p.m. tomorrow. Don't you worry. We got lots of things covered. Toxo, always good to see you, buddy. I hope you are keeping well. Oh, still Toxo there. Don't refresh your chat. Oh, David Newland, cheeky in there. G-Joke, good evening. Gene, I hope you are well. Man, there's a lot of people here already. There's lots of people. Cage Thunder. I do love that name. That is an absolute banger. Andre, good evening. Hello, Timothy Earnshaw. Good evening. Ross, good evening, Ross. I don't know why I shouted your name. I just did. Handmade Monk, good evening. Rob Taylor, it never the same without you, my friend. Good to see you. And Colin Brown. Oh, man, all the old school names are up here. Good evening, James. We could be here a while. We might have to. Apologies to everyone. You are all noticed.
I will bring them up.
Gamertron, good evening, my friend. I hope you're well. Yes, no more trouser accidents for me for a little while. We are all good in the hood. So whilst Blunner still goes through, let's jump in with the first topic, which is, of course, always going to be, what are you playing? So, Blunners, what have you been playing?
So, yeah, it was my birthday last Thursday, and I had something come through the post from, he's in the chat at the minute. It's Paul, and I've waited till I'm on the pod, so I put it on there. And I have had my Super Pocket with a magnifying glass.
Okay,
and yes, I've been playing my Super Pocket. Look at this. It's even TVG Blunners edition.
Look at that.
Yeah. So
lovely.
I've mainly been playing Puzzle Bubble. I love it on here. Taito is one of my favorite. This is my favorite Super Pocket at the minute.
Yep.
Neo Geo one is very good as well, but I really do like this one. The color scheme's great. And yeah, other than like the way it's perfect. It feels so comfortable. The screen's so much bigger. So thank you so much for sending me it. But yeah, that is mainly what I've been playing since Thursday when it turned up. So yeah, absolutely love it. And you can also flip it around the other way and you can use it as like a stand. So it becomes a stand. So
nice.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Paul.
That's very cool. Very cool indeed. Andy, what have you been playing?
I've been plugging away at that Metal Dragon game, and I'm trying my best to like it, and it's kind of hard to like sometimes. Um, it's along the lines of Commando and Mercs and Shock Troopers, but
Hmm.
they're kind of better, maybe.
Okay.
It's quite frustrating the way you control, and it's very hard to aim your shot correctly, and next thing you're dead. So
Mm.
yeah, it's one of those love-hate relationships. Um, it's easy to pick up, but it's very hard to persist with it.
Mm.
Definitely, Life on Mars is a better game on that card, but I've been trying to get to the end of Metal Dragon, and it just frustrates me, and I put it down and try and come back to it.
Yeah. Okay. Sometimes persistence is worthwhile. Occasionally, sometimes I know I had to persist. It's not on Evercade, but I had to persist really hard with Dark Souls and Demon Souls. I sort of would play it for a bit, would get angry and be like, no, this isn't for me. And then all of a sudden it just clicked. And now it's one of my favorite game series. So I'm not saying Metal Dragon's going to become your favorite game, but
Yeah.
persistence may reward you. So we'll yeah, keep us updated with that, because I don't have that cart and I'm always intrigued by the dual carts. So yeah.
What I would say about it is there's a big controversy about it. I don't know if you know the controversy, but stolen assets and graphics that were deliberately borrowed, maybe from other games. And if it ever goes to court, or if there's ever a proper legal action, it could be withdrawn fairly quickly. So,
So yeah, jump on
So
that cart.
might not
yeah.
happen.
Might be one you want to snap up soon, right? In that case, there's someone's just putting their impulse buy. So, yes, could be one of those little cheeky impulse buys. Derek, what have you been playing?
Well, I've been busy on Turrican 3 on the Turrican collection. I'm pleased to say I've completed it now. No cheats, no nothing, just straight up gaming. And I just absolutely love that game. I would have always told you that Turrican 2 was my favorite, but for some reason, Turrican 3 just has really come through over the last year. I played it on original hardware not long ago at a friend's house and just really kind of, to love it for all the right reasons. And of course, it's come to Evercade, and I've wanted to pursue with it, find as much hidden stuff as I can, find my favorite weapons, and yeah, it just works for me. There are some tricky bits towards the end of the game, but honestly, persevere, stick with it, and you'll absolutely love it. It was great to hear there from Andy as well about Metal Dragon. Again, it is, if you're not too used to those style of games, if you're not like a Commando fan or Gun Law on the Commodore 16 or Who Dares Wins, some of those brilliant games, Mercs, of course. I've just reviewed one on Total Video Gamers, of course, called A Machine Gun Fury, and that is absolutely fantastic version of this genre with lots of guns and power-ups. So yeah, I mean, Metal Dragon obviously is a far cut down version, but nonetheless worth persevering with. And yeah, once you get your little knacks and tricks that you can use in the game to prolong your life, it's definitely worth seeing the end, even if it is just the once. So yeah, hopefully, and good luck with that adventure.
Super duper. Right, before I say what I'm playing, there is some breaking news by the sounds of it. Blunner's hit us with the breaking news.
So if you're a VIP member or anyone else who gets your emails from Evercade, you can check them now and you will have this. Boom. Evercade NEXUS, March the 31st, or should be the 31st of March, 4 p.m. British Standard Time. So it is getting announced tomorrow at 4 o'clock. Guys, you don't know, you should know by now, but hang on, why is it not pasting? I will paste Evercade's YouTube channel in the chat, so people who aren't, make sure you are there. We will be there, and because of this news, we will be back tomorrow night at 9 o'clock. There will be a second Evercade stream tomorrow. The Turtle Evercade podcast will be back tomorrow night, and we will be discussing all things Evercade NEXUS. So I want you guys in the chat. None of these recorded videos that you have to leave comments on. I want you guys live with us while we go through at 9 o'clock at night, and then you can get your thoughts in the chat. We'll talk all things Evercade NEXUS. So tonight is going to be a preview one. So tomorrow will be the real thing. I was really hoping that this would have come out earlier. So, but yeah, it hasn't. But if you go and check your emails, you will find this in there.
Super. How exciting. Look at that. Breaking news while we were live for a change. That's amazing. I will take it. I will do this very quickly so that we can get cracking with discussing what we predict and think the Nexus will be. So I've just had 2 weeks off work, which has been delightful. And I have done a heck of a lot of gaming, albeit most of it on Resident Evil Requiem. But whilst that has been kicking my butt during the day, I have then been unwinding, believe it or not, with going back to Neo Geo 1, which I still love. I still cannot get enough of King of Fighters. I'm surprised that I'd never really given that series much of a go, and I just absolutely adore that game. I think it's up there with Street Fighter. That might be a controversial statement, but I think it's really, really solid. And then I have also gone back over one of the first 10 carts because of the new announcement for Mega Cats 3, I think it is. So I'll be going back over the original. Coffee Crisis, Tanza, of course, are just 2 games that I just never get enough of. The one I've never managed to really get into is Creepy Brawlers. So I think I might do an Andy C and see if I can persevere and see if I can get on board with Creepy Brawlers, because it is one that I've just never been able to connect with. So
I feel that way about Coffee Crisis.
Oh, really?
Oh, I love Coffee Crisis.
Coffee Crisis, the hit detection on it seems to be really, really weird.
Yes. Sometimes that goes in my favor. So I will take that one. But
it has a banging soundtrack, but
it really does. Yeah, it really does.
I say I've still been playing some of the stuff on the Mega Cats 3, as I've been in touch with the guys over there, and I've done a lot of lives. If guys in chat haven't seen, go to our channel. And I would say that I can't wait for this cart, and I'll announce it now. We will be giving away this cart as well. So we'll definitely be giving away this cart. We've got to sort out how we're going to do all that competition stuff at a later date. But as you'll probably have the usual going to the Hangout and stuff like that. But we will come up with that later. But yes, definitely we'll be giving away Mega Cats Collection 3 if you haven't already pre-ordered it.
Super duper. Right. Let's get to it. Nexus! We are now going to be talking all things Nexus. What do we think it is? What could it be? We're going to be covering some of the various things that people have been putting on in the Hangout, on Twitter, X, and all those other various platforms, and discussing some of the top suggestions of what people think it could be. So are we gonna? Is the first one after this the first one, or
I'll just start with this because I know Andy brought this to my attention in our group when it was announced, and that is a core group that connects parts of a system. So that is what the word Nexus actually. Or is it in the Oxford Dictionary, Andy?
I think it was the Cambridge Dictionary, but
Cambridge Dictionary. So the Cambridge, not Oxford. Sorry, Cambridge Dictionary says that is what Nexus means. Take that as what you will. Obviously the rumor mill's been going mental, so what we're going to do is we're going to break down. I've managed to Andy put a comment in the Hangout and it went nuts. Had about 80 or 90 comments on it. Then I put on there that obviously we were doing the show tonight, and I've got a load of comments on there as well. So it's really interesting to see everyone's different takes. So what I think we should do is actually go around the round table and then think, and I'll bring up someone's take and then what we think of it, and could it be this? So
let's go with that first take.
First one then, is it a hybrid docking station? So this is the image. Just let me show you. Someone got an AI image of it, and it doesn't half look. It looks pretty good. Of a Nexus that you could dock in like that, which has your USBs out. Obviously the picture doesn't do it justice on here, but yeah, that is kind of what they were thinking.
Do you know, I could get on board with that purely because I think we'd said, Christ, I can't think how many weeks, possibly months ago, in order to now get to that next step, for Evercade. It needs to have a little bit more power. It needs to have a little bit more juice behind it. Something so that we can really dive into the next sort of, I guess, era of what is now retro. And we joked about having like a tower of power, the Evercade Tower of Power, having a click-on adapter to the bottom, which could maybe take discs of some sort. So a hybrid docking station, I don't think is a bad shout. I think it could be something along those lines. I like the idea of it because it's very Switch-like. It's very Steam Deck-like, being able to sort of pop something in a dock and have it connect to your telly. I like it. I like this idea a lot. Obviously, as we go round the group, people in the chat, please get your thoughts on each particular suggestion as well.
I've just put a poll in, so for this.
Excellent. So yeah, I think it's not a bad shout. I think it could be something like it. Maybe not a complete dock, but something like that. Blunners, what are your thinkings?
Yeah, like you, I didn't really come to my mind like it could, like it being a dock, and then I see that image, and obviously me stealing it off Facebook group hasn't really given it justice, but that it could work. So when you think about the Switch 2 up reses, the Switch 2 to 4K, when you dock it, so you can make a dock that is more powerful, that has processors in it. The Evercade is USB-C. Well, the EXP is. So yeah, I do like the sound of this. But does it come back to our original NEXUS quote of it being a where is it? I've unstarred it now. What did you put on there? Cabbage Face put it in the chat earlier, of a group of things that come together. So it's a good shout. And if it was something like that, I would be quite happy, and I think that would be quite a good way to go.
Agreed. Andy, what are your thoughts on it being a hybrid docking station?
Well, I was on the Retro Titans podcast a number of years ago at about the same point of the lifespan of Alpha, and they'd announced that the Alpha was called Alpha, but hadn't said what it was. So my punt at that stage was that it was a hybrid console that had a bigger screen, better speakers, more features, possibly dual thumbsticks, and I think it's a good idea, definitely, and it kind of ties in with this new controller they've announced. So if they have a controller that has dual thumbsticks, they're going to have a handheld that complements that. So it is certainly something that that is a good possibility, and I think that they need to address certain problems with the EXP, and this is a good way to do it. So if it was a hybrid, they could have the handheld with a better screen, a bigger screen, improved speakers, possibly Bluetooth connectivity for headphones, a removal of battery, and that kind of thing. So it's definitely a way, it's an out for them from the EXP, and it kind of complements then a home console, which ties into this connected NEXUS thing, you know, that we're connecting the home console to the handheld console.
Yeah. Interesting. Before we dive to Derek, who won't be able to say too much, I don't imagine. Just to cover some of the comments in the chat there, what we're doing is we're just going around some of the popular ideas, and we're just going to discuss each one of these ideas. We're not saying that it's only a hybrid docking station. And then once we get past some of the big topics that people have said that they think it's going to be, we're then going to say what we think it actually is. And we'll see how on the money any of us are tomorrow at 4. So, Derek, if it was a hybrid docking station, what would your thoughts be on that? What would some of the benefits be to a hybrid docking station?
Well, we all love a hybrid docking station. I've got one for obviously my Switch OLED. It's ideal. You just slot it in, it pops up on the telly. Would this be ideal for Evercade? Absolutely. It'd be a great connection. I see a lot of people, especially in places like the Hangout, etc., saying about these putting their cord in to connect their handheld to the telly, and it doesn't work quite often. So something that would solve this problem would be ideal. Also, as I say, if you sold it just as a docking station with no sort of hardware with it, so no handheld or anything else, you'd be able to keep the costs down. So I think, again, that's something that a lot of people would be able to jump in and grab. I also loved Andy's idea there of the handheld. I did think that was an excellent idea there with the twin sticks, and perhaps get a bit of Hotline Miami going and things like that on it would be ideal. But as I say, the docking station, yeah, it's a cracking idea, and something I've seen people pitch for a very long time now, actually, for something they'd like to see come to Evercade. And as I say, the possibilities are endless. So, and it would, of course, connect all types of hardware, which would be very fitting.
Right. What are some of the other suggestions before we dive? Right. So before we dive off of this,
I've got one here. I was saying I've got one now. Just put it in our thing. Is so Devil's Advocate. If it's a dock, what's the advantage of getting a dock if you have a VS? So I would just like to bring up, what's the point of having an SP or getting an EXP if you've got an SP? So it's, do you know what I mean? They're known to do stuff like this. That's how I counter that. But yeah, it's a valid question. If it was a dock and come out, well, then what's the advantage of having a VS?
Unless it's something that comes with the dock and the dock is part of it. Like a Switch. Because it's like the Switch idea is now, it's not going to be unique anymore, is it? It's, you could argue that the Steam Deck does it. You can dock your deck and then have that connect to a telly. And
got one here.
So, it's not...
Has all the USBs on it.
As Nintendo always are, they're normally first out the gate with an idea, but they're never the ones that keep it forever. So I had something that came into my mind a minute ago of what, based on this docking station idea, but I think it's more about what I want it to be rather than what it actually is going to be. And I thought, what if it's like an all-in-one dock that just boosts the power of everything? So you could click your VS to the top of it, and then you can have a more powerful VS that can take discs or whatnot. Or if you just had an EXP, then you could click the EXP in the back and play all the games on a telly that way. So it could be used for multiple things. It could be something that just sort of bleeds into that Evercade universe that little bit more. But I think that would probably take a lot of tinkering to get right. I have no idea about these things. I'm just throwing.
Well, if you remember, the N64 had the 64DD that went on the bottom. Yeah, remember that? Yeah, there you go. See, and we had one back for the SNES as well, and you could run satellite TV through it and also copy your games. Not that I ever did if Nintendo was watching, but
no,
yeah,
you're on it.
But yeah, those sort of add-ons, you've certainly come up with a good idea there.
Yeah, but there we are. I think we could talk dock forever. So let's jump to the next popular suggestion, and that is, it is an arcade stick with cartridge slots. So, Blunners, what are your thoughts on this being another popular suggestion?
So a couple of weeks back, before we even knew about the NEXUS, members only went all about this. I did say this. I was saying how cool. I've seen them Pal Kitty devices or them Ambonic devices, I can't remember whatever they're called, which it has an arcade stick and the actual brains of the consoles inside it. It just has a HDMI out that goes to your TV, and you're playing all these arcade games. So and I would say, how cool would it be to have one of them that you could top load in your carts like you would do, just to have the slots on the top next, like above all your buttons that you could just slot in like an old school NES like top loader kind of thing. So yeah, this is another great this could be and I've seen people in the Hangout and stuff say about this. This could be another great idea if it was something like this, an arcade stick that you could just link up to your TV and play your arcade games that you've got on your Alpha, but play them on like my 60-inch TV. So yeah, be interesting to see what you others think. But I think this is another great idea.
Mm-hmm. Andy C, an arcade stick with cartridge slots. Would you be happy if Nexus turned out to be that?
Possibly. It sounds cool, but I don't really think it's an Evercade product. I think it's more a Hyper Megatech product, like the Super Pocket is to the EXP, or you know, that maybe it's that kind of toy kind of product that would be Hyper Megatech rather than Evercade. That's, of course, if they're still running with the Hyper Megatech brand. They haven't really kind of done too much marketing on it recently. They seem to put the focus on Evercade. But yeah, it'd be kind of cool because I don't have room necessarily, and my wife doesn't have patience for me to bring an Alpha into the house. So I could probably sneak one of them in and they wouldn't get noticed.
Yeah, that would certainly be an easier thing to... yes, for arcade stuff, I think that would absolutely be a much easier go for sure. Derek, an arcade stick with cartridge slots. What are your thoughts on that?
I absolutely love it because once again, it's inclusive of the community. It's something that somebody who doesn't have a Versus, who wants something that will connect to the television, can get one of these arcade sticks. It's also really easy to stick in your bag and take round your friend's houses, and it plug it into the telly, you know. And if you could connect, as in a Nexus, if you could connect them, and then you could have from 1 to 4 players, for instance. What a wonderful idea that would be. Perhaps your friend's got some cartridges you haven't got, and you've taken some he hasn't got. Remember, it's got 2 ports. You can stick them in. Job done, isn't it, eh? You can play some of those lovely multiplayer games on there, which at the moment it's a little bit trickier, especially, you know, you could plug that arcade stick, for instance, into the back of your Alpha. Hey, now player 2's got a proper arcade stick to play with rather than the dodgy pad that you've given to your younger brother so you can win. So, yeah, for me, it's a win-win all round. And it's easy to put into shops like Smith's Toys and Argos, you know, and anybody that grabs one and then they learn about it's expandable, well, that's got to be a little gold mine waiting to happen.
Yeah. So an arcade stick with cartridge slots. Originally, when this sort of did the rounds, I wasn't entirely convinced, mainly because the Alpha's out. I've got the VS, but the more I have thought about it, I think I'm in the similar vein as Andy. Like I've got a monitor here that I use for the VS. I hook it up to the PS2 that I've got here, and it doesn't look like complete arse. So a little arcade stick here, which I could just, you know, chuck the carts in the top. Do you know what? I think I would probably like that more than an Alpha. As cool as an Alpha is, and they really are cool. Having a little unit the size of a keyboard to chuck cartridges in the top, like, yeah, I could be sold on that. I think I would be happy if that was what it turned out to be. Based on what I think it is, which we'll get to in a bit, I think maybe it's maybe not a leap in the direction that I thought they might head, but it's certainly one I wouldn't be upset about. So I think this is another good suggestion. How many more have we got? We got that. Yes.
2 more.
Let's jump to the next one, purely because I think when we get to discuss what we think it actually is, I think that's gonna be the one that maybe people will have some thoughts on. So
just before we go there, I did put in the chat, will it be a hybrid dock? 59% said no, 41% said yes. So yeah, and I've done the same for the dock, and 68% as so the arcade stick, sorry, and 65% now have said no.
Ooh. Okay. Interesting. Okay.
I'm loving these polls at the minute, guys. If you haven't noticed,
We'll run a poll on each of our suggestions, other
that's
than
what I'm doing. Yeah,
Derek's suggestion, because
background.
he's not allowed to say. Okay, let's run to the next one, which is handheld with dual analogs. So I'm thinking something Avec PS Vita. I don't think it would be as big as a Steam Deck or a Switch 2. I don't think, well, it might be. Who knows? Let's go to Andy first this time. Andy, a handheld with dual analogs. Would you be happy with that?
I would, if they improved other stuff as well. So if they just take the EXP as it is and put dual analog sticks on it, probably not. But if they took the EXP, refined it, got rid of that really ugly bezel off the front of it, and made the screen bigger, possibly refine the buttons slightly that you can see the lettering on them, improve the speakers, Bluetooth. Now, I did put something up on the Hangout the last day, and if the viewers watch that leading edge of the EXP here, right, and then compare it to the X in the middle of the screen, it looks like 4 of them meeting together, which would lead me to believe that maybe it's a new handheld that has wireless capabilities to connect with other handhelds in the vicinity or online. Now, I don't know if you remember when the DS came out originally, it had this really cool feature that you only needed one game cart for everyone to play the games, and you could game share. That would be a really, really cool feature if more than one handheld in the vicinity could play against each other using one cart. Not everyone had to have the game. And we're only talking, in a lot of cases, a lot of these games might only be in kilobytes of size. So it's not a major ask to transfer that information across. So that would be kind of cool. So my belief would be that it's some sort of interconnected handheld. Judging by that X and what the meaning of Nexus is, with potentially dual analog sticks to match up with the new controller.
Okay, interesting. I like the detective work there. Looking at the X in Nexus, Crow has come in there and said something similar. They said it was sort of looked like the 4 VSs. Like, yep, I can absolutely see that as well.
And guys, if you haven't seen it, go over to Ed's channel and you can watch the Evercast. It's on there every Saturday at 4:00.
Indeed,
English time, anyway, UK time.
Yes. So, Blunners, what are your thoughts on it being a handheld with a dual analogs?
Yeah, I like the other two. I really do think this is another great suggestion, and this is what I think more people are looking so far. 81% in the chat are thinking that this is what it is at the minute. I do think it's with how hardware happy they are. This could be the more likely route. Obviously, the controller leaked with the dual analogs, which then leads us to believe, well, how are we supposed to play other dual analog games if our current handhelds don't have them? This was a mock that someone done up, and I like the look of that. But a bigger screen, maybe going like you said, get rid of that bezel that's all to the end. Yeah, so that's another mock-up that was made. That's taken out of the Evecade Hangout. Use the QR code if you're not already in there. But yeah, so it's another great suggestion, a really good suggestion. But when you come back to the word Nexus, I know, like Andy's said there, a core group that connects parts of a system. Unless the hand, like Andy says, this handheld has to have them sort of capabilities to be a Nexus. Another thing is if you go over onto their website, the Nexus is there showing on the console drop down separate. So I will just quickly show everyone that for people who haven't seen it. I'll go quickly on there now, which is here. So yeah, so if you go to hardware, Nexus is showing there now. So you can actually see Nexus Alpha EXP. So, and this is obviously what it's taking you to sign up and join our mailing list. So yeah, if you go to evercade.co.uk, Evercade Nexus, this is what you'll get. So yeah, so that is why I know Andy's post originally, he said in the Hangout, he said originally confirmed Nexus is definitely new hardware because it is on the hardware drop down. So
yeah,
it does lead you to believe it has to have some sort of connection to have the word Nexus. It has to have it. Like you said, is that that X, is that the 4 consoles that are all meeting together, because you can do up to 4. So yeah, this is the main thing that people think it's going to be. There's also something else that people think it could be. So far I've loved all 4. I've loved the fact it could be a dock. I love the fact it could be an arcade stick with slots on it. That'd be sick, wouldn't it? And the fact if it is a new high powered, but if it is a new console, it all comes down to dollar. It all comes down to how much is it going to cost. That's another issue that we were going to have to deal with. I know our friends over in America pay through the nose on stuff. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see. But yeah, that's my thoughts on it.
There's definitely something I'm going to star because I want to come back to. Oh, have I started? Yes, I have. Where's it gone? There we are. So I'd like to come back to this before we talk about what it is that we think it's going to be. And that is, what's the most disappointing but possible thing it could be? That could be fun. So I've started that and we'll come back to that because I think that'd be a really fun thing to do.
Yeah, great question.
So handheld with dual analogs. Do you know what? I would be really pleased with that. Especially if it meant that there was more power inside it and we could then look to not only play all the current carts that we've got, but actually start to look at expanding those carts to something bigger, to something that can take, really, really good PS1 games, possibly even PS2 games. That would be an absolute dream. I'm looking at the PS2 library, and whilst there's some absolute bangers, there's also some hidden gems which are not they're not massive, and the PS2 is still a relatively, apart from the big hits, it's a relatively cheap console to collect for, but it also has the added ball ache of the fact that you've either got to have a modded PS2 with HDMI out, or you've got to have the old 60 gig PS3, and that thing just kicks out heat. It's just, there's no easy way or affordable way to play games at that next retro level. So if it's a new handheld with dual analogs, I would love it to be able to, talking myself into it now, but you're not going to release something with dual analogs if you're not going to start releasing games that require dual analogs. That's all I keep thinking in my mind. Like, you can't, it's not going to be for show. If it was for show, it would be like Dreamcast. You'd just have one analog stick and you'd be able to do, a little bit of something. But when you got 2, that's very, very specific. So yeah, again, like what Andy said, if it's got bigger power, bigger screen, bigger everything's much improved. Yeah, like I'd be into that. I bought a Switch 2. It's effectively a Switch Pro. It doesn't really, there is a graphical difference, but it's not like going from, like a PS4 to a PS5 in terms of the, the updates. So yeah, I'd be into some good hardware update for sure. Yeah. Oh, Cage Thunder, you try just talking to him offline about it. It's impossible. Derek, if he was to go to Vegas, he would clean everyone out. I guarantee it. Derek, a handheld with dual analogs. What are your thoughts on that being a suggestion?
Well, I like it. I like it a lot. I mean, who doesn't like analog sticks? Yeah, I mean, you all seem pretty hell bent there on there definitely being two, like the controller. Obviously, we know there's one game that would utilize that already, and that is, of course, Doom. If you look at the coming soon Doom screen that Blaze did, obviously underneath it is an X. Did you notice that?
Yeah.
No. Well, there you go then. What's in NEXUS? Yeah. So that could be a little clue there, maybe. But yeah, you move a control stick and you look up and down with the other. Would that help people on handheld? Yeah, probably. I mean, I played it on PS2, PS1 rather, quite recently. I just used the controller, to be fair, and whatnot, and yeah, it got on fine. But yeah, it would be convenient. It would be handy to have it. But what sort of price tag would be on it? You know, at the moment, if you look at the price of the EXP, I mean,
what's the EXP doing at the moment? What's the price tag on the EXP at the moment?
Oh, let me type it in.
It's about €100, €100.
Type it in, find us an Amazon price or something that's universal to everyone, if we can, kind of thing.
So you can at the minute you can get the EXPR Tomb Raider for am I on mute? Yeah, I'm not. You can get the EXPR with Tomb Raider from Very for £70.
Okay.
You can get £80 from Argos. Yeah, so it's about £80.
Okay. So
if it had analog sticks and you were looking at perhaps £150, £180, how would you feel about that?
It would have to come, like Andy said, it would have to come with
packed
better
with Doom,
everything.
maybe.
Packed with Doom would make me happy.
Bigger screen, definitely.
Yeah, much bigger screen. Yeah, if it's if it is
pushing the 200 there.
Better battery.
Removable battery.
Oh dear. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I mean, it is quite frightening where there's battery powered things at the moment. I see a lot of people in the Hangout with EXPRs and etc. that are experiencing issues. And obviously, if it's fed into those newer ones, then obviously it would feed into an analog handheld, perhaps, which is quite concerning. So,
4 card slots.
The thing about it is, Blaze have to incorporate a replaceable battery, a user replaceable battery under European law. So that comes into force in February next year. So it would make no sense to introduce a new handheld console now unless it had a very easily replaceable battery.
Yeah, I agree.
Yep. People saying that it's supposed to be cheap or affordable, getting out of hand if hardware is £200.
If you wanted it to support PS2 games, can you imagine the cost of it? The processing power that would be required, you know, it would be pushed out of reach of most people, I'd say, who would be willing to, like, you'd be talking probably £400 if you were pushing the processing power as far as PS2 and Xbox, the original Xbox. And I mean, why not go as far as GameCube if you're going to go to PS2 and Dreamcast? Like, the processing power required for them. I mean, if you try and run a PS2 game on a Raspberry Pi 5, you'll struggle. And that kind of processing power costs a lot of money. And you see the likes of Raspberry Pi upping all their prices by 20 and 30 quid because the cost of memory is gone through the roof. For Blaze to introduce a handheld that powerful would be a huge risk.
But yeah,
a handheld, I think it would.
Yeah.
But I will come back.
Maybe not. Maybe not a home console.
Maybe not a console.
Yeah.
So I will come back to that when we get to talk about what we think our actual predictions will be. please keep your comments coming in the chat. We are going through them. We are reading them. I am really enjoying people's engagement with this. Clearly, people are interested. They are excited. They are waiting with bated breath for 4 p.m. tomorrow. So let's dive to our last.
I'll just say 81% voted yes. So 81% of the votes voted yes for that as I just end that poll now.
Dang. That's a big number. So the last popular suggestion, which has been doing the rounds, is an online store, online infrastructure. So while Blanners gets the next poll processed, Andy, if it was announced that it was an online store with online infrastructure, what would your thoughts be on that?
It definitely won't be an online store, because Evercade posted earlier today on social media making big of the fact that their products are physical cartridges, nice glossy manuals with nicely presented, storage boxes that you can put in order on the shelf by collectible number. So if they did announce something that rubbishes today's social media post, it would be really unusual. I wouldn't rule out a better online presence, as in that you would have a profile that you log in on your Evercade device, and then you can play competition mode and upload maybe a short video or upload a score or a screenshot, communicate with other people in the community, maybe have a downloadable oddity game that you can maybe go on some sort of storefront and get the oddities instead of game of the month, that they have an online presence where you can play itty bitty little games or demos. That would be pretty cool. So, I mean, it's a potential as part of another product. We know it's definitely hardware. So this would be an addition to the new hardware.
Yeah.
It won't be a game delivery service. People won't buy digital versions of the games. They'll still stick to the physical versions, I think.
Yep. Blanoise, what would your reaction be if it turned out to be an online store or infrastructure?
Just to say, like, just to play devil's advocate, you can't buy any of these carts. So I know they've said they're physical media, but they don't make them quick enough. That's the problem you've got. So to play devil's advocate, if you had an online presence for all them people that cannot get hold of these carts they want to play, you got people that want to play Neo Geo 1 collection. You got people that want to buy all this stuff but can't play it because guess what? They can't get it. The physical media is not there. So an online store would support them. That's not what I feel. I'm going to say it's not what I want, but it's the new age. If you've got younger ones that are getting in and finding discovery, like my children at the minute couldn't care less about anything physical. They're not used to it. They're used to having. So if it's a younger market, that might be something they go down, which obviously they won't because they've said they shouldn't. But I don't think they should. But that's just a counter offer that. I think if it does have some sort of infrastructure, I think it's going to be more down the size of Gene Joke here. QR codes and high scores like we had with Murtop. I really enjoyed that, being able to see how crap I was compared to everyone else. Do you know what I mean? So I thought that's really good. But the connect, I'd love to be able to like connect and play more. I'd love to see if Derek is as good as he always says he is. Do you know what I mean? I'd love to see if he is the man, the myth, the legend, or is he not really? He's worse than Ryan at games. So you know what I mean? I'd love to see it. You'll be able to see it with an online infrastructure. You know that rest in peace, Ryan. But you know it is. The fact that Nintendo can't get this right, an infrastructure, and use a bloody app, I can't see it being that. But I would love to have some sort of leaderboards of like your area, or do you know what I mean? Like you had with the thing that you could scan a QR code and see how you get on. That would be great for especially something like arcade games and stuff.
There is a major issue as well as far as servers. So they can't store American people's information outside of America, and they can't store EU people's information outside the EU, and they have to store UK information in the UK. So the infrastructure needed to facilitate an online presence like that is fairly substantial, and you have to make sure that everyone is connecting to the right server all the time. Because if they're not, you're breaking the law under GDPR and all the rest of the stuff.
Jeez.
So
yeah, so I would like. It's another great idea, as if it was. Oh, sorry, wrong one. If it was a connection of players, so if you could actually use it to play together, as we go back to that lovely word of NEXUS, a core group that connects parts of a system. What if that was just a way like of us being able to join together? But as you've just said, that maybe you could only do that at the UK side. I don't really know, but yeah, I do feel it'll be really good. I don't want to face off against Derek. I just want to see if he's like, because he is the man and he helps us all out. So that's what would be quite funny. That if you could link together, I think if you could link together, like this whole thing says it is, and actually play games together, because I know there's a way of doing it on these Chinese knockoff handhelds that Nick Craddock put on there earlier. But yeah, but what if it was an online facility to make your own games to share and play with each other? Now that if it was an online facility for us to make our own games, jeezy peeps, man, that would be phenomenal. That is what we're crying out for. And I was saying, like, in my latest indie for Evercade, if you haven't seen it, my Pico 8 one, I would love to see games like that we could just share with each other. But that's a whole different other show. Yeah, I'll shut up now. But yeah, that's my thoughts on it.
Yeah. An online store, I'd be pretty disappointed with. Online infrastructure, I could be on board with. Obviously, we know it's hardware because it's in the hardware section, so it's gonna be hardware of some sort. Whether it has some kind of online infrastructure that goes along specifically with that, I don't know. Could be. Of all the sort of popular suggestions that have sort of done the rounds, this would be my least, the one I'd be least excited about, unless they really pulled something out of the bag and just hit everyone on the head with an absolute blinder. Then I don't know. I don't have much to say on this one because, like you say, Blinders, like Nintendo can't quite get the online infrastructure, particularly good, and you've got to pay for it. Like the Sony have got it pretty solid, and I know Microsoft are just, Microsoft fly with online infrastructure, but then it's Microsoft. I'd be pretty annoyed if Microsoft couldn't get it right. But again, you pay for that service. You pay, minimum £7 a month to have that infrastructure there. So, is it possible? Yes, but would they have to charge for it? Possibly. So yeah, I don't know. This is my least excited one, I would say. My least excited one. Shall we do our predictions?
Yeah, and then should we do what if it isn't, or do you want to do what if it isn't, or what? Yeah.
Yeah. So let's say, what is your actual prediction? So people in the chat this time, get in what you think your actual predictions are for this NEXUS announcement. What do you think it's going to be? Not what you hope it is or dream it is or anything we've talked about so far, unless it is one of those things, in which case then yes, put it in the chat again. Blanners, what is your prediction? What do you think we are going to see at 4 o'clock tomorrow?
So 4 o'clock tomorrow, I think we are going to see, where is it? I think we're going to see this. Boom. They're going to have the analog controllers on the side. I think that bezel's gone. I think it's a whole new system which has exactly what Andy was saying, capabilities to be able to bring people together, share a game, because that is definitely, to me, 4 consoles or 4 handhelds in an X shape. So I reckon that's the key. There's 4 in there, 4 come together. I, like most people that voted, I think it's going to be a handheld with dual analog controllers.
Okay. Andy, what do you think Nexus is going to be?
I think it's going to be handheld, like Blunner said, with dual analog sticks, improved screen, improved battery, and the potential for a docking station. So whether they'll launch a docking station with it or not, I think there'll be connectivity in it. There'll be a secret port on the bottom that people will be asking, what's this for? And if it's not launched with a docking station, I definitely think that there is a potential docking station in the future. The big question is, will they make it more powerful than what's already there? I don't necessarily think so. Potentially slightly, but what they can't do is they can't alienate the existing market by making all the devices out there obsolete. Because if they make this more powerful, they immediately make the EXP, the XPR, the VS, the VSR, the Alpha, and everything else they've ever released obsolete. So they need to be very careful there. So I think it's probably going to be somewhere along the same power as what we have. It'll just be improved, dual analogs, potentially a docking station. And the reason I say potentially a docking station is because I have a console called a GPI case, a GPI case. And it's like a little Nintendo Game Boy that you put a Raspberry Pi Zero in. They came out with the GPI case too. And the technology to actually have a docking station is quite simple. You know, all it is a USB hub with an HDMI out. Like, it's not overly technical. So even if they don't have that announced and ready, they could have the connectivity already inbuilt to facilitate that in the future.
Okay. I'm going to go completely in a different direction. I think it's going to be a new console, standalone. I think it's going to be more powerful. I think it's going to have the ability to play all the current Evercade games, so it doesn't get rid of anything like that. But I think they're going to be preparing for the future. I think there's going to be a move now to start looking at games. Now that they're starting to get these licenses, we're starting to get Doom, we're starting to get some really big licenses that we never thought would ever come to this, you know, funny little British company. You know, we never, that Duke Nukem one, we always go back to that Duke Nukem announcement. That was massive. People are always chasing that next big announcement. And I think in order to get those next big announcements, you're going to need a console that's going to be able to handle those types of licenses that they want. I don't think it's going to be a handheld. I think it's going to be something that you will plug into a TV. A VS. I take what Andy at the Crow has said earlier about there doesn't seem to be anything that you could feasibly connect like a booster to an existing VS on the VS, because that's kind of what I've always wanted. I thought that would be a really cool way to go, having something that it would sit on top of, like a 32X, just to sort of give it that extra little kick up the arse that it would need to run something really silky smooth. But I reckon it's going to be a brand new console with the capability to start forward thinking, even if the games don't necessarily come out this year. I think this is them announcing what they're looking to do for the future.
It's funny you say that, Ollie, because I don't know whether you can think back to the EXPR launch. But for me, a bigger feature of the EXPR launch and the VSR launch was the Gigacard. So it was actually the game content changed dramatically with that announcement. Not that there was more power in the machine, but they were suddenly going to start having larger, more sophisticated games from that point on.
Mhm.
So that stood out for me at that point more than the announcement of the EXP. I was fairly underwhelmed by that. But yeah, it was the Giga cart that was the standout there. So yeah, you could be onto something there.
It's kind of what I hope it is, if I'm honest. And that is purely selfish. And I appreciate that. But you know, I've got a Switch 2, I've got a Steam Deck, I've just picked up a PlayStation Portal. I don't really want to have another handheld in my life. You know, it's hard enough with 3. But a new console, I could be bang on board with that. There's enough room on my desk to have a nice little new addition to the Evercade family for sure. I think
how many handhelds do we need? Like, this is another question. Like, I mean, I have 2 of these. I have 1 of these. I have 4 Super Pockets. I have the VS. You know, like at some point, Blaze have to call a halt and say no more hardware for a while. You know.
Yeah.
100%.
I mean, the Alpha, albeit a relatively new thing, I still think those will continue to sell.
Yeah.
Because they are cool. You know, one-up arcade machines, they keep bringing those out, and they are still selling because people want that particular experience. So I do think if they were to release a more powerful console, they could still release things that would still fit into that ethos. And I don't think you would completely alienate people, especially if there was sort of like a build-up to this system coming out, like you get with the new console. Maybe not quite like we had for PS4 and PS5, because that just seemed to last forever. I mean, Jesus wept, that PS4 was still getting games made for it last year, which is just unthinkable. But this could be a natural life cycle, a natural point at which Evercade can kind of go, this is all still available and you can still play it. We're just taking that next step. And I would be very up for that. But like I say, completely selfish reasons, really. Derek, I'm not going to ask you what your prediction is. So I think we should just go to Dear Derek, because we can't ask Derek what his prediction is.
I think we need to go to
most disappointing.
Yeah, the most disappointing one. Quick,
the most disappointing but
so
probable.
What would you all be? Yeah, there it is. The most disappointing but possible thing it could be. Come to me last, Ollie, because I'll see if anyone else has it.
Andy, let's go to you, buddy. What would the most possible but disappointing thing be?
I don't know if it'd be disappointing, but it might be anticlimactic after what we've discussed. But it is possible. Would be like a jumper for your cart. So you put the cart into a jumper port that goes into the EXP or the VS and provides more power. So whatever this little device is,
RAM pack.
will have more RAM and more processing and whatever else in it, and that would provide more power to the EXP and the VS and the Alpha, and potentially open the door to new software that we don't currently have.
Okay. Derek, do you want to say what? Just because if you could make something up that would be disappointing but possible.
Yeah, I mean, I like that RAM pack idea. You could even have one where you put a cartridge in and then it did Wi-Fi and then it could all connect you, you know, for multiplayer. Yeah, I mean, you know, it's endless, really. I remember once discussing an achievement system with Blaze. So yeah, who knows? Yeah, I mean, if it was something like that, then obviously we'd all naturally be disappointed. Obviously, a huge build-up and then a tiny little device that you perhaps put into it or slotted into your Versus or into your Alpha. Yeah, I mean, you know, or a hub or something that you put in the back of them to go online. It wouldn't quite be up to expectation. Blades has certainly built this up to be something special, and therefore, as I say, at 4 p.m. tomorrow, it's a case of put up or shut up. And we have had ones in the past which perhaps haven't lived quite up to expectation. So this time, as I say, the ball is formally in their court to lose. So it's going to be quite a monumental occasion.
Yeah. Man, what would I would be really disappointed if it was an expanded VS or an expanded EXP that just had online capability. I think I would be pissed off with that, because as much as the online would be cool, if it is just so that you can play things like Street Fighter online, well, I'd rather play Street Fighter in the home with someone next to me. Online would still be cool, but I think over the top of something like, a new handheld, which I know I've said I don't really want, but a bigger, better handheld, or an arcade stick, or what I hope it is a brand new console. Anything above that or below that for me would be mildly disappointing. So I'm hoping it's not just an online firmware capability thing. As cool as that would be, I would be quite disappointed with that.
Yeah.
Blun was.
Right, so people in the chat have been going nuts. So I'm going to run through these because some of them are quite funny. So will it be the Nexus Power Glove? A medallion. Nexus Pants.
Oh man, we could make some Nexus pants.
Socks.
We could do that as well.
A cable.
Yes, a link cable, Peter. Yes.
A watch. Adding a digital store.
That would be the most disappointing. Agreed.
An MP3, a cart with an MP3 player, headphone jack. DS had one of those. A keychain that takes a cartridge.
There you go. Look at that X. Look, 4 keychains swinging.
Yeah. 4 keychains together, innit? A handheld with vibration that doubles as a personal massager. I don't know what
I'd be all right with that.
I'd
be quite up for that.
I said that one. A connectable super pockets for me would be meh.
Yeah.
And this is an expansion pack like the N64 had, a cartridge slot storage, 32X style, a super pocket branded, an Evercade with a pre-installed Pico. A lot of people said rumble packs, an SD, a keychain that takes a new Evercade micro SD game cartridges. And I wanted to just bring this one up because I know it was in Ed's video earlier. April Fool's joke. The thing is, over in the UK, April Fool's I don't think it's as big as it is over in the States, because over here it's not really like a thing. Like, you might get a pinch and a punch first day of the month, but April Fool's isn't really that big here. But yeah, it does seem a bit odd that April Fool's, they're really want to release the actual E4 they're releasing it on April Fool's, but they're not. They're doing it at 4 p.m. tomorrow.
Pre-orders will be live on April Fool's.
Yeah, pre-orders are live April Fool's. So for me, I would have to say, an Evercade VR headset. That'd be right up Thingy Street, wouldn't it? For me, the most disappointing thing would be the price. If they're coming in at between 200 and 300 quid, like, you're then in some big territory of like your competitors, which do things better than you. So yeah, I do feel, for me, it is the price. If it comes in way too expensive, it then prices me out. I was quite lucky that it's on Argos, and I have an Argos card that you can pay over 6 months, and so I managed to pick an Alpha up, and then it only cost me like £40 a month or whatever for a couple of months. Job done. I was quite happy with that.
Have you noticed they've closed that?
Yes, I know. Well, no, it's a new digital. It's going all online. It's going all digital.
Yeah.
They messaged me the other day that the app stopped. So yeah, and I feel if I could get priced out of it. So I'm all hyped up here, and then they could be like, "Yeah, it's this," and boom, 300 quid, mate. I'll be like, "Oh, sugar."
I think as long as they could justify it,
Yeah.
Like if it's a new console that could go up to, you know, running really solid PS1 games,
Yeah.
maybe some janky PS2 things, something that was future proofing it for another
Janky.
couple of years. Oh, I love a janky game.
It's got to be future proof.
So
200,
but
I think 200 sub would be all right. Above
Yeah.
200, I think you're in trouble. I think.
I agree. I even advertised at 199, if it's a brand new console that really is something that would beat out the idea of needing a Raspberry Pi, because, you know, the reason we buy Evercade is because we like to have an official product. We like to have something that's been endorsed. We like the licensing. We like to support all of that. So if it's able to do what Raspberry Pis can do, but properly licensed way, I would pay up to 200 for something like that, because it would be a great way. And if that had some kind of online capability built in with it, I'm in. And I would pay something for that. I think anything above 200, I agree, starts pushing it into a really tight territory.
And
But we'll have to
I just
see.
want to say, before we go on to Dear Derek, I just want to say, well done to Blaze so far. I could be cut when it hasn't been leaked so far. As of 10 o'clock Monday night, we still don't actually know what it is. And that is a massive achievement. I'm so proud. I do not know. I don't want to know. I don't want to know until 4 o'clock tomorrow. I don't want to be all over on the Hangout knowing exactly what's coming, because it ruins it. Like, do you know what I mean? So please, there's a certain company I know, which I wanted to bring up before we go to Dear Derek, but I'll do it afterwards. Which over in the States, they like to leak stuff and show little clips and stuff of what's coming, which is, do you know what I mean? I think that should be done by the actual official Evercade. Shouldn't be happening by some third party. I think that has to be done by actual Evercade themselves, official. If they're putting it out, then you know it's gospel. So yeah, I can come to that afterwards. But I'm really, really happy. Touch wood that it doesn't get leaked before 4 o'clock tomorrow, because that's my only worry. Is that tonight, like we've heard from Sarah in the chat here, she's worried that worried that maybe this gets leaked before. So fingers crossed they can keep it under wraps and none of these guys ruin it for them.
Just a little bit longer. Just hold on. Right, let's dive to Dear Derek. Rob.
Do you have a question? Well, now's your chance. It's time to ask Derek.
So we have reached that point of the evening where we are going to see what questions you guys have got for Derek in there. I think what I would like to do first off, just because this flashed up earlier and I thought that was pretty cool, we have got so Timothy, remember 3 solid months. I appreciate you, buddy. Thank you so much. And then it came in right at the beginning there. Rob Taylor chucking us a 199, mate. We appreciate you. We always appreciate you. You've been here since the beginning, so thank you so much, mate. So yeah, let's go to the first starred question, which is question observation. Just got an EXPR Solo. It has screen defects out of the box, bad light bleeding from the bottom corners. Should I return it or wait for what the Nexus is?
Yeah, 100% return it. Yeah, that shouldn't be the case at all. And it's important that we get these sent back and we hold Blaze to a high standard. So yeah, I mean, if they were here now in person, they would reiterate exactly what I've just said. So yeah, do take that unit back or send it back if you've bought it online. And yeah, as I say, it's up to you whether you then go for another one or you hang on to grab the Nexus.
As we have said before, in the UK, if we buy things directly from Blaze, we go back to Blaze. Their customer service is great. They replace things very quick. I don't know what that would be like stateside, but you would probably as good a service. So yeah, I agree with Derek.
£5 for a leak.
Oh, there you go.
Thank you so much, Sheffy. That's much appreciated. So we've got a start here. Castle Mania Games have said that there will be another announcement to the next. I'm assuming this is a question. Is there going to be another announcement, or you're not allowed to say anything?
Well, I think it's important that at the moment we just focus on the up and coming announcement tomorrow rather than worry too much in the future. It's not to say there won't be more hardware. Obviously, there is more hardware planned, but at the moment we're focusing on the Nexus tomorrow at 4 p.m. So, yeah, at the moment we're going to keep a firm focus on that, but do tune into future podcasts and we'll certainly have that debate.
Super duper. Well, from Colm, dear Derek, predictions gotten out of hand. This cause a risk of backlash.
Every time, pretty much, throughout the history of the Evercade, the last sort of 6 years, I've seen lots of heavy predictions from people. So yeah, they always get a bit out of hand, and I think sometimes that does cause a bit of disappointment. Even not just Blaze get it wrong. Sometimes Nintendo, after the Wii U, there was a large debate as to what the Switch was going to be. I remember, and people that were in a camp of only wanting home consoles, and another camp who are happy with handheld, and then obviously it came to be a hybrid, and some people said they'd never play it and things like that. So yeah, I mean, things always get out of hand. Do I feel in this case? Yes, a little bit, but hopefully it won't bring too much disappointment to people.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing with all of it, isn't it? As long as you're prepared for it to not be the thing you want it to be,
yeah,
then you never really be too disappointed. So disappointing would be what Andy said: an enhanced DXP with with as the only new feature being the dual analog sticks. Yeah, that would be pretty sad. I'd agree with that. Right, we have got one here from James. Dear Derek, getting Derek in early. Completed Hawkeye this week. Added to my list of favorite Evercade games of Men in Pants, and that includes what should I play next?
Oh my goodness. Well, it depends. If you've got a home computer, Heroes, there's a rather awesome game on there. So yeah, do check it out. It's as I say, it's a little bit kind of Hawkeye Rastan inspired. But yeah, as I say, those Adventures of Lan are a fantastic game, and it really does need your attention. So if you have got it, definitely check that out. And if not, source the cartridge. It's not too expensive at the moment, so there's a chance you could pick it up reasonably. So yeah, it is an absolutely outstanding game. Once you try it, you'll realize.
Okie dokie. Good suggestion. One from Toxo, long-time supporter. Dear Derek, has any cart used all of the PSB connectors? I know Atari 2 only used a few bases to one side. So has any cart used all of them?
Oh, no, not as far as I'm aware yet. So, yeah, we're waiting for that to happen. And I'm sure Blaze will have something in the pipeline in the future. But right now, no, as far as I'm aware.
Intriguing. One here from Ratchet. Question: was there this much hype when they did revisions of the hardware before?
Not EXPR and things like that. No. When they launched EXP, there was quite a stir, and obviously the Versus console, there was a very large, the original one, obviously, there was a large stir there as to what that might have been, and people again chose docking stations and all sorts of stuff, if I remember rightly, from that time. So yeah. So no, we haven't had it in a while. In fact, I had that very conversation with Blaze, and I said to him, "This is probably the most excited I've seen the community for a long time." And I stand by that. I think this is a really big push, and it's a great time to be involved in Evercade.
Yeah. Do you know what? Just before we dive on to the next one, the one that always got me in terms of hype when the EXP was announced, I remember seeing it at work and thinking, okay, that looks like a nicer handheld. That's great. And then it was just bang. Oh, by the way, it also comes with this Capcom collection that's got Mega Man. It's got Street Fighter 2.
Yeah.
It's got Final Fight. And you're like, what? Christ. It's happened. It's happened. We've got it. So these announcements, they do come with a little cheeky twist, which is always good. I'm assuming Nick Craddock's being.
Oh yeah,
go. What's the big announcement tomorrow?
Yes. Yep, the big announcement is tomorrow at 4 p.m. Now, if I could just say to people in the comments, and this was really, really important, that obviously, pre-orders will be going up this week for the NEXUS. Retailers, whether that be Amazon, Castlemania Games, Songbird Pro, etc., without rolling them off too much, have got very, very strict pre-order numbers. Once they hit that number, they will be sold out until the second quota. Now, when that will be, whether that be August, September, etc., it'll be the time you'll have to wait to jump in on the second one. So if you are interested and you do want it, then I would suggest on that day you get in there ASAP, because those numbers aren't massive. And, I want to make sure everybody that's in these comments, that I love coming along and watching the podcast, get one if they want one.
Yeah, I've also put another link to their channel. People should already be on that anyway.
Right, we've got 3 more, so let's rattle through these. We've got one from MI Tech. Again, good to see you, my friend. Derek, so will they announce it tomorrow? Will it be a showcase full-length video or a short trailer?
We're going for trailer. So yeah, trailer is where we're going at right now.
Cool.
Plenty of time to rewatch that about 1,000 times tomorrow, I am
Yeah,
sure.
that's what you want to do.
Gamertron, again, good to see you, my friend. Dear Derek, what's your favorite card of 2026 thus far, including announced cards?
Definitely Turrican, 100%. Yeah, I've poured hours and hours into it, honestly. The clock goes round, I look at it and think, oh my goodness, I better stop this now. So yeah, for me, 100% Turrican.
I need to pick that card up. I really do.
Oh, brilliant, mate.
It's great.
Yeah.
And last one from Normstrong. Any word of a game of the month, highlight of the month?
Obviously, we want to get this out of the way first. That'll be tomorrow. And then obviously, you'll have pre-orders. And then, hopefully early April, we can start to look towards exactly what you're on about, which is what we're all anticipating, really, and what we all really need at the moment in the Evercade community is definitely, some form of game of the month.
Yeah, agreed. Well, gentlemen, that has brought us to the end of episode 80. Christ.
Wow.
That's a solid number to hit. So, yeah, thank you everyone for tuning in and getting us to 80 episodes of the Total Evercade podcast. Before we go around and get people to follow our wonderful people that have joined us on the panel this evening, just a big thank you to everyone that has joined along live this evening. It's been wonderful to see so many people here. It's been great to see you all in the chat. We really appreciate you. We really appreciate everyone being so courteous in the chat. We love a good debate, but we also love to be respectful. So I really appreciate everybody for just being a solid person in the chat. I'll do all the ramblings in just a moment. So Andy, thank you so much for joining us. It's always a pleasure to have you on. Are there any places or links you want people to go and follow you? Social people to go and into?
You can always catch me rambling on the Hangout. So anyone who wants to log into Facebook, go in the Evercade Hangout. My stuff is always there. I'm pestering someone. So
yeah, use the QR code if you aren't above.
Yes, do dive into the Hangout. And of course, Derek, thank you as always for joining us. People can find Derek on X. He is the man with the no. If you want to be with your finger on the pulse, Derek is the man you want to be following on all those platforms. So do get down there and give Derek a follow. All that's left to say from us, of course, is thank you to all our channel members. We appreciate you. You can become a channel member for £1 we do have some members only content at the end of each stream. The members only question today, which we'll be doing for you straight after this, is where do you see Evercade in 5 years' time? All of the suggestions for what we talk about in the members only come from the members themselves. And yeah, £1, that's all it takes. And all of the money goes straight back into the channel. We'll be announcing very soon a whole host of giveaways. I'm just looking up there at one of the prizes that arrived the other day, and I think people are going to be bloody pleased with one of those. We've got another couple coming in the post. Yeah, there's going to be prizes galore. We promised that when we hit 4K, we would be doing prizes galore. So thank you everyone for subscribing and getting us up to that 4K number. If you are new to the channel, please consider hitting that subscribe button. It's free and it helps us out a huge amount. And do consider giving the video a little thumbs up, a like, because that also helps us out a great deal as well. So yeah, just thank you again to everybody for watching along live. Join us tomorrow evening for a bonus episode where we will be discussing what the Nexus is. Will we be pleasantly surprised? Will we be disappointed? Who knows? Who knows? Get into the comment section after this who you think is going to be more on the ball with their prediction, and are we going to be disappointed? Get it all in there. So yeah, all that's left to say is we will see you tomorrow evening, and have a good day tomorrow. See you later.